What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Hope everybody's having a great day or night whenever you're watching this. I feel like the Green Bay Packers, they could be like really, really special next season. I think they had a great year last year. They got really hot at the end. And, I think they found some things that they can really build on. And I think they got better, too. The division did get better, in my opinion, but I think they got better with it. And when they have as much young talent as they do that's improving, it's really hard to argue against them. And yeah, I just want to talk about how good they look for next year. Obviously, everything is, assuming some sort of good health, but I really think they could be like a 12-win team, and they could be, a 1 or a 2 seed in the NFC if things go right. And they just got a lot of talent. So let's talk about it. Let me know in the comments how many games you think they're going to win. What do you think about the Packers going into next year? Been a minute since I've done a football video, so I feel like now's about the time to get back into that. So, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe if you like this kind of content. Please like the video, but the depth chart is nasty in Green Bay. Obviously, you have a star quarterback in Jordan Love, who showed out last year, showed he's the guy, which Packers fans have been spoiled for about 40 years now of great quarterback play, and they're probably going to get another 10 or 15. So that's awesome for them, right? But Love looked great. He looked great. You bring in Josh Jacobs. There's no Aaron Jones anymore. But Josh Jacobs, his numbers were down last year. I think a lot of that was due to the fact that he was in an offense where nobody was scared of them throwing the ball, and you're going to get a decrease in efficiency when nobody's scared about the other half of your offense. So going to Green Bay, they're going to have a little bit more creativity from their offensive coordinators, and obviously Matt LaFleur is the coach. But I think he's just going to be better this year. He's in a better situation. There's more talent around him. It's very easy to see. Then obviously you have guys like A.J. Dillon. I know they drafted Marshawn Lloyd. That should be pretty good. They got some depth in the running back core, so if Jacobs misses time, they can kind of plug and play and be all right. Then you have the young, probably one of the most young receiving cores in the league that is getting better, which Jaden Reed was awesome last year as a rookie. There was Romeo Doubs, who had great moments, had a huge playoff game against the Cowboys. Dontavian Wicks is one of those more underrated wide receiver 4s that could be a wide receiver 2 on probably a lot of teams. And then Christian Watson, who we really didn't see much last year because of hamstring injuries, and he was just kind of held back. But you're getting him hopefully healthy going into this year. You got 4 legit receivers that are going to make a lot of plays out there. Musgrave coming into, I think, year 2 now. Tucker Kraft's going to be coming in for another year. They looked good as a tight end combo. You draft the rookie, what's his name? Jordan Morgan, first rounder out of Arizona. That's a good pick. You added some to your O-line, added some juice. And obviously you have Elton Jenkins, who's one of the best linemen in the entire league. You're probably going to be able to protect your quarterback pretty damn well with that, and you're going to be able to run the ball pretty damn well with that. Offensively, they look great across the board, especially when you look at the fact that all these guys are still young. So I like this. I like the offense a lot, but the defense is where I think they improved a lot in the offseason, and that's something that they needed. Obviously, you bring in Xavier McKinney from the Giants. He's an elite free safety, one of the better ones in the league. You get a playmaker like that back there, that's going to add some juice to your secondary. Him and Jair Alexander is going to be a lot of fun to watch as kind of a secondary duo there. And you bring in the safety Javon Bullard to play opposite him, so you really revamped your safeties, which is, they got gashed a lot on big plays down the field. You change that up, so that shouldn't be an issue as long as those guys are healthy. Bring in Edgerrin Cooper from, I think it's Texas A&M. Linebacker, second round, should be pretty good to play next to Quay Walker and guys like Preston Smith and other dudes that are out there. But you already had guys like Preston Smith, Quay Walker, Rashawn Gary, Devontae Wyatt, and I'm probably forgetting a name, right? Like Kenny Clark is really good. So you have all the star power all over the field. You have new young players coming in that should be productive and playing from day one. That's a win. Now, hopefully, the kicking situation kind of figures itself out and the kicker improves, because I know we had some games last year that were really bad. But they really have done a great job putting together a good offense to maybe even a great offense, and taking a solid defense and turning it to really good, at least on paper. But the schedule is where, they have some tough ones. And I'm going to kind of read it off into who they play. But it's, week 1, they're going to play in Brazil against the Eagles. So there's no home field advantage for either team. That's a game that is a legit toss-up between 2 of the best teams in the league. So I would say because I really like what Philly did, and I probably have Philly bias too because that's one of my favorite teams. They probably start 0-1, but after that it gets fun because the Colts. I think they beat the Colts. This is in Lambeau, so you're 1-1. Then they're going to play in Tennessee against the Titans. I think they beat the Titans. I think you're 2-1. You're going to play the Vikings. I think you're 3-1 after that game. You're going to play the Rams, which the Rams are good. I like what the Rams are doing, but I think Green Bay's better. That puts you at 4-1. You're going to play the Cardinals. You're at 5-1. Cardinals got a lot of holes to fix, but then it gets a little steep from here. You're going to get the Texans, which is in Lambeau, so I do think it's a toss-up, but I really like what the Texans did in their offseason too. I think that's one of the best teams in the AFC. I give that game to the Texans. So at that point, you're what? You're 5-2 or something like that. You're going to play the Jags in Jacksonville. I think they're better than the Jags. I would put them at 6-2. Then you're going to play the Lions. And the Lions, that's a division game. They're always toss-ups. Always toss-ups. And this one's in Lambeau. I think Green Bay wins this one. So I think that puts you at 7-2. Then you have your bye week in week 10. You're going to play the Bears in Chicago. And I think that's one where I really like what the Bears have done this offseason. I think that the additions they made were good. They might lose that game. So I would think that puts you at what, 9-3? Maybe, is that what it is? 8-3, 9-3, somewhere around there. You're going to play the Niners in Lambeau. I think that's another toss-up game that could be a win. So really, you're somewhere around like 9-10 wins by the time you get to week 13. I think they beat the Dolphins. So you're going to have maybe 11 wins by week 13 if everything goes right. But let's say realistically 10. You're going to play the Lions in Detroit. I think the Lions win that game. I think those two teams are going to split the season series, and I really think the division will be between them. But that's not to knock off the Bears, because I like what the Bears did. But ultimately, you're probably at 11 wins or so by the time you play the Lions week 14. You're going to play the Seahawks. I think you beat the Seahawks in that game. That could put you at 12 wins. I think you could beat the Saints in week 16. It's like 13 wins right there. And then there's the Vikings. It's, this could easily, I think they'll beat the Vikings both times. And then they're going to play the Bears in Lambeau. It's easily a team that, depending what that middle of that schedule looks like, where you play the Jags, the Texans, the Dolphins, the Niners, that's the hardest part of the season right there for the Packers. So if you just split that and can chalk your way through there, it's easily a 12-13 win team, probably. Like, I see no reason that they could not get to that. But I think that's a safe pick. It's being right around 12 wins. I think that's safe. Because you'd have me essentially saying that you split it with the Lions and split it with the Bears. So I would say that's maybe 2 losses right there. But then outside of that, the games that are toss-ups, right? These are the non-division games that I think are toss-ups. I don't think the Dolphins game's a toss-up in November in Lambeau. I don't think the Dolphins are going to travel well. So, but the Niners, that's a toss-up. And then you have the Texans, which is a toss-up. Maybe the Jags are a toss-up. They're good games, at the very least. They're very competitive games. So ultimately, I really see, if you look through their schedule, there's a legit chance they get to 12 wins. And if they play absolutely perfect and health goes their way, maybe a little bit more. But ultimately, that's a team that could be a 1 or a 2 seed, depending on how great the Lions play next year. And the Packers, they just got a lot of good going for them. And I think it's exciting. I think it's exciting because it's like a new wave of energy. It's a bunch of young guys coming in now. It's not the same old thing that they dealt with. It's refreshing. And I'm looking back through the schedule just in terms of the geographic part of it. They're really a lot of their tough games are at home. Like the game against the Niners is in Lambeau. The game against the Dolphins is in Lambeau. The game against the Texans is in Lambeau. Those are probably their 3 hardest games. Outside of that, outside of the division, because you're gonna play the Lions in Detroit, you're gonna play the Bears in Chicago. The hardest games that they're gonna have on the road are the Rams and the Jags. You have really, outside of your division, 2 rough road games. Looking at this, because I like the Seahawks, but who knows what their quarterback situation looks like? Who knows how good they are next year, even though I really want them to be great. They're not really playing in a lot of tough environments for what you would look at. A lot of those hard games are at home, so they have that advantage, and Lambeau is one of the best advantages in the entire NFL. So yeah, I'm more confident now. I think it's 12 wins. And I think it's a team that's going into the playoffs, and they could legit have Super Bowl aspirations at being this young, which is crazy. Anyway, let me know in the comments how many games you think they win. What games do you think they potentially lose, or what do you think their season looks like? Do you think that they're a Super Bowl aspiration kind of team? I think if things go right, I mean, you can say that for a lot of teams. If things go right, that they could be a Super Bowl team. But in reality, they have some tough games, but most of them are at home. They have a really good young team, and that's enough for me to believe in what they're building coming off of last season. When you add in an Xavier McKinney, you bring in Josh Jacobs, and then you bring in the rookies, should be a lot of good stuff going on this year. But anyway, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe if you like this kind of content. Please like the video. Really, really appreciate it. Let me know how you're feeling about the Packers. I'm done. Peace.